Is the retro edition of the Nike Zoom LeBron 2 worth $210? Not even close whenever it comes to performance, so let's talk about it.
I played a cut with my homies, dressed in all black and we cozy. Can't say you love, you gotta show me. I ain't with my guys, then I'm dolly. Ain't no vibe like this, they don't rock like this, and you know we don't miss. Swish, they don't catch my drift, tell them mind they biz, or catch my bitch. Ain't no vibe like this, they don't rock like this, and you know we don't miss. Swish, they don't catch my drift, tell them mind they biz, or catch my bitch.
Welcome back to our channel. Today we'll be checking out categories like cushion, traction, support, just all the performance aspects for this LeBron Zoom 2 basketball shoe. But before I get into that, I'll kind of cover some of the general info. So turning back the clock all the way to 2004, I think that's like around the time that these dinosaurs were originally releasing. I shouldn't really put it like that because that just makes me sound old. I was alive whenever that came out, but from what I can tell, I mean, the retail price was like down around that $125 range. Man, wouldn't that be nice? Like, this shoe is all the way up. This LeBron 2 Retro is all the way up at $210. That's even more expensive than the LeBron 20s that he's got out right now. So, I mean, looking at this shoe a little bit more, as for like the colorway, like this Maccabee colorway is super sick. Like, I guess these were unreleased from back whenever he wore this color scheme in a preseason game against the Maccabee Elite team in 04. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but like the white and the gold look is super clean, and this definitely is going to have more of that like retro look as far as the model is concerned. Like around the ankle, you're going to get that white and gold strap that you just don't see a lot on basketball shoes anymore, and you can take it off, but I think it just makes it look a little bit weird. And I think that, you know, most brands, they just kind of move that ankle just down to more of the forefoot. We see that a lot more common now, but I mean, looking at these from the side, it's just kind of weird how much that white piece kind of comes up from the outsole. It just like runs onto the midsole and even onto the upper. It sort of looks like, you know, a little shark fin right there. And then back around the ankle is this cool LJ23 logo with this crown kind of worked into that little design. Then on the heel, you're going to get some LeBron text running up the back. And these have some like really thick shoelaces, and they feel durable to say the least. You know, this isn't a bad looking shoe. Just doesn't really look like something you'd see a player starting their line off with today. It's going to be, you know, more of a bulky look if we're being honest, at least in my opinion. But I mean, let me know what you guys think about the appearance for the LeBron 2 Retro down in the comments. But as for now, we'll go ahead and see how these shoes hold up on the court. So now checking out the materials and the performance side, and starting off with the cushioning. With this being a retro shoe, normally brands will kind of go back and just kind of clean out some of the older tech and just update it with some of the newer stuff that's being used in models today. And with these, not like, of course, these aren't even on Nike's actual site, so I'm not even totally sure what the tech specs are in this model. Feel free to throw it down in the comments if you know, or if you think you know. I am assuming we have some type of like Zoom cushioning being used, because you can't actually see it labeled on the midsole, and that's something that's actually still going on LeBron's line today for the most part. Still throwing those labels on the midsole for the cushioning. But I mean, just playing in these shoes, it just kind of makes you feel bad for some of the older guys, like the retired players and guys that are like later on in their career, like LeBron. They just didn't get all that high comfort technology that most shoes are getting today. And I'm honestly not sure if like Nike even messed with the cushioning at all on this LeBron Zoom 2 Retro, because they really aren't very soft. Like, the heel compresses a little bit whenever you put your weight back there, but I mean, it's going to be balanced just like his shoes are today. But I'd say like balanced bad, not really as much balanced good. Like, it almost feels like there's more padding like surrounding your foot in the sock liner and in the collar than what they're using like directly under it to cushion your foot. So, and even using our durometer to check out the midsole, these were reading at a 53.5. That is definitely on the stiffer side. Like, I mean, that does check out with how they feel on the court though. So whenever it comes to cushioning, everything that I had played into LeBron and like from LeBron's line all the way up until this point had really impressed me for the comfort. That was one of the better categories year in and year out for his line. So I guess we had to rewind it back all the way to the LeBron Zoom 2 to finally be let down a little bit. So now looking at the materials and the support, the materials alone, well, maybe like along with the nostalgia and maybe the colorway, I guess, are pretty much the reason that these get that $210 price tag. Like, it's probably more expensive to make shoes now than it was back in 2004, so I wasn't really expecting these to get that same $125 price tag. That's a little bit, you know, unrealistic. But on this shoe, the gold color is going to make up the base, which is just like this ballistic fabric that feels really nice. And then you're going to have some holes running up the tongue that do allow for some breathability, but as a whole, like, this just isn't the best shoe for getting ventilation to your foot. And it kind of has like some more of those premium touches on there that almost feel like they work against that. One of which is going to be the white overlays, these white leather overlays that you do see in a few different spots. And that's the same material that is going to be used on the strap for the shoe. And I said these looked a little bit bulky in the appearance section, but they feel a little bit bulky in this one. Like, a size 10.5 weighs 540 grams. And that's not the heaviest shoe that I've ever played in, because that's the LeBron 19, a different shoe from his line. So I mean, take that one away, and this would be the heaviest model that I've played in. So I'm definitely not a fan of that. Like, I'm not a big fan of that at all, because this is one of those shoes where it just does feel like it's a little bit heavy to play in. But whenever it comes to support, that's a spot where there's just really no concerns on this model. The ankle strap is clearly going to help, but honestly, I'm not a big fan of it though, because it slides up a little bit and can like even start to come off the shoe occasionally. That's probably why you don't see it a whole lot anymore. Like, and I mean, the strap, honestly, it can't be taken off if you want to. You can just unvelcro it, like I said, as long as you like the way they look kind of naturally without it, because it does leave that buckle left over. But with that white piece kind of coming up from the outsole that comes onto the midsole and even onto the upper, that like pretty much eliminates any chance of your foot like, you know, sliding out of the shoe. The lateral containment is definitely great on these. So the materials and the support are definitely nice. I just wish it didn't take 540 grams to make it that way, because the LeBron 2, it does feel like it can slow you down a little bit more on the court, especially from like a guard's perspective. Closing it out with the traction, this is definitely a unique pattern. I'm sure it's supposed to resemble or like mean something, but to me it just looks like some random lines. But the first thing I noticed on these is that the grooves are super thick. Like, I'd say that make these really good for outdoors. I guess just that part alone though, because if you leave out the fact that these do cost $210 and the cushion just won't really protect you very well on an outdoor surface from what I felt specifically. But the traction is just kind of hit or miss on these. Like, whenever we were doing our squeak test, they don't make a ton of noise, at least, you know, not consistently. And honestly, that's kind of a good representation of how they play. Like, sometimes you can actually feel some nice bite on the floor. Like, I don't know, maybe sticky isn't the word that I would use for this shoe, but they are stickier than like the LeBron 18 or the LeBron 19 at least. So I wouldn't say it's like the strongest part of the shoe, although, I mean, maybe it is whenever there aren't a ton of bright spots aside from like the support on these. But to finish off with sizing, I did go true to size, and these do have a bigger fit. Like, there's a little bit more than a thumb's width left over at the end just for the length. And then this isn't going to be a narrow shoe, more so standard to slightly wide, I'd say. So overall, honestly, it was really cool to check out the Nike Zoom LeBron 2 in its retro form, since I wasn't, you know, really around to check them out whenever they first are released. But, you know, leaving all the extra stuff out and just looking at these through a purely like performance lens, this just wouldn't be a very good investment. Like, the cushioning is underwhelming, support materials are great, but it's also a heavy shoe to go along with that, and the traction is good enough to get you by from what I felt. But is the Nike LeBron 2 Retro worth $210 for performance? No way. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. Feel free to drop a follow or a sub if you like this video. And if you're interested in buying the Nike Zoom LeBron 2 and you want to support our channel, just click the link here on screen, or we have links down below or in our bio. So feel free to check that out. But until next review, I'm Landon from Shoewear. Peace.